podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
First there was the original.
I thought it might be nice for kids. Keep them off the street, you know.
Then the basic.
This is a simple game.
Then the first version of the advanced.
Good, clean, wholesome fun.
Now the hammer comes down. Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn second edition AD&D podcast ever. Welcome back to THACO's Hammer, Splat Book number 22. Today, we are talking about dragons. And I'm DM Glen with my fellow compatriot DM Brian.
Good evening.
And our special guest, DM Jim, also known as
Hello.
James Edward Raji IV.
Yes.
Author of Lamentations of the Flame Princess, an excellent basic weird fantasy role-playing game. And
Yes,
like I said, today it's all about dragons, but let's get the administrative stuff out of the way. We'll go into hits and crits.
What do you feel like doing tonight?
I don't know, Ange. What do you feel like doing?
Oh, we ought to do something. It's Saturday night. I don't want to go bowling like last Saturday. Oh, what do you feel like doing tonight?
I don't know, Ange. What do you feel like doing?
Hits and crits. Okay, hits and crits. Brian, what you been doing in role-playing this week?
Oh, well, I've been kind of taking a little vacation from it. As we all know, we've how long has it been since we've recorded a show? 3 weeks?
Well, you know, it's summer and you have to deal with vacations and Gen Con. And
You
like
have to
that.
deal with vacations. Let's make that clear.
And I did not deal with Gen Con. Yes. Yes, I had a couple weeks off in California. So you've been just like taking it easy, or?
Yeah, for the most part, just relaxing. I mean, the only role playing stuff I've done is I bought a copy of Icewind Dale 2, and I've been playing that. That's kind of rejuvenated me a little bit because they really did the interactions between your PCs and their NPCs really well. So I'm like, yeah, this is cool. So
Very nice, very nice. Was that a used copy, or?
No.
Get that?
There's a website called Good Old Games, or GOG.com, where they take the older games, I mean, not just role-playing games, but action games, puzzle games, the old text adventure games, and so forth, and they adapt them to the more recent operating systems of the day, and then they charge this ridiculously low amount of money for it.
Ah, okay. That's GOG.com.
Com. GOG.com, yes.
Cool. Have to look that up.
Yeah.
How about you, Jim? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you can find copies of like Baldur's Gate 2 and, just for, on average like $7-8, some $10. There's a couple that are like, I've seen like a couple games more recent that are as high as like 15, but yeah, it's pretty cheap.
Cool. How about you, Jim? What you been doing in Finlandia there as far as role-playing's been going?
Okay, well, a little over a week ago was the big role-playing convention in Finland, Ropacon. Had a table there, sat in some seminars with Eric Mona and Frank Menser. It was really weird sitting at the same table as them in front of a crowd. What else am I doing? I've been arranging my travel schedules to go to a convention next month in central Finland and one in Stockholm. Then have been doing some writing. No actual gaming, unfortunately, but a lot of business paperwork and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. So what's the so what's the state of gaming, the gaming community like in Finland?
You see, I've been here for 5 years now, so I'm kind of immune to it. But I know that when the people come from the States for RoboCon, they are blown away at
Really?
how how the gaming scene here is so vibrant. Any sort of gaming you can imagine is happening. LARP is big, but I've got no problems gathering players for, really old school games. Uh, it, there was, I think it was record-breaking attendance for the convention, and Frank Menser and Eric Mona were the guests of honor. Frank Menser, in the closing ceremonies, donated a series of the original, three D&D books for one of the white boxes
Wow.
to Ropicon, to the organization. And, apparently I wasn't there, but multiple people have reported that, people in the crowd were crying at this, gesture of kindness.
Oh man.
I mean, that's how serious people take this here. So, but Finland's mostly known for the new style, kind of really intensive role playing, and not so much the traditional stuff. But the roots still run deep.
Good. That's great. And me, well, like I said, I spent 2 weeks in California. Went to my favorite old game store, the Warhouse. I put some pictures out there. Beautiful store. Got that smell, got that look. Yes, and Brian is already wanting to replace me and go to California. So.
Oh, just go to California. I just know better than to walk in there with no less than $200 in my pocket.
Hey, I did it, but then again, I only bought $12 worth of stuff. So, I also did a little tiny bit of gaming with my grandsons. We played Marvel Superheroes Advanced.
Mm-hmm.
And that went off well. The only problem I have is trying to get the kids to differentiate between Grandpa as the GM and the villains they're fighting. Because I hear, Grandpa, can we play again? I want to beat you again. I said, you didn't beat me. You beat the bad guys. I'm the GM. But you're playing the bad guys. I know, but I'm not them. So I beat you. All right, we'll work on it. Okay.
Well, I kind of think they're right,
Well, I don't like to take the adversarial GM position. To me, it's like, this is the world. I'm not doing anything. I'm neutral, Smoke and mirrors, we got some emails, don't we?
Yes, indeed, we do.
Wait a minute. I opened one up, and Julie's inside. Son of a gun, do it in there. We got DM Julie with us, folks.
Hi.
She wants to play with dragons, too.
Well, it's girls. You either go with dragons or unicorns, and I'm just not a unicorn type.
Oh,
You're not
no.
one of those horse girls?
No.
Okay.
No My Pretty Ponies ever for me.
Okay. So what do we got for email?
Okay, we've got an email from, what is his name? His name is Lon Varnador. Varnador, there we go. Varnador.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, it's
if
almost
I
like...
say Raji right, you can say that one right.
Hey, I've been up for 15 hours, sue me. Anyway, so he has multiple questions, so I'm gonna try to get to these, and we could just do them kind of rapid fire style. Okay. He says, first I want to say I love the show. Really glad I was able to get in from the beginning with this podcast, and I apologize, this might be a long email. No, this isn't even long. Okay.
No, that's when I write in.
Yeah. It's it's sort of like, Tolstoy-ish, but I digress. Okay, his question is, how do you deal with player fatigue or DM burnout? He says, I've experienced DM burnout on more than one occasion. My campaigns suffer from it. What is a way to keep the game, quote-unquote, fresh? Glenn?
Walk away from it for a while?
Mm-hmm.
See, I have a little bit of an advantage is I have a second hobby, which is collecting movies, DVDs. So if I start getting burned out, I just devote the money and time to my DVD collection.
Mm-hmm.
And draw a lot. And draw a lot.
And act.
Mm-hmm.
And act. Yes, I'm also an actor, so I do
Yes.
stage acting too.
To your wife's consternation, Glenn.
Everything's to my wife's consternation.
Marriage.
Breathing is to my wife's consternation. No, it's not.
Ah, you've got one of those too.
Yeah. How does yours handle it, Jim?
Yeah, she just tells me, take deeper breaths so you don't have to breathe as often.
Good. Using up my oxygen, damn it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I think people should have more than one hobby. I mean, not like, you don't get ridiculous, or, I'm, if I keep this up, I'm going to go into a Bill Shatner get a life rant. So I'm going to stop there. Okay, you guys take it.
How about
That's with Captain Kirk.
what? Oh,
That was before I think he did the Get a Life thing. There was a late night thing that ABC
Saturday Night Live.
No, before this.
Okay.
There was one on ABC called Fridays, which is sort of like their attempt at Saturday Night Live, except they did it on Friday nights. And they actually had William Shatner on, and this one, the bit is that this one guy comes up to him and mentions all these other roles that William Shatner did, pulling really obscure stuff out of like thin air, and then he shakes hands with him, and William's like really, really appreciative of it, and then after he finishes shaking hands, he walks like 2 steps away, and he's like, I just shook hands with Captain Kirk.
Oh,
It was actually pretty funny.
well, back to the question of gaming burnout.
Yes.
Apart from striving to shake hands with Captain Kirk, another thing that can be done to break up game monotony is try a different game, even a one shot. It's like if you're playing D&D and everybody's getting a little burned out, do a 1 weekend or 2 weekend Call of Cthulhu game.
Oh yeah.
good
I mean,
idea.
something vastly different, possibly with a different GM.
Yeah, or Champions or Spycraft or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something so that you can continue with the gaming and stuff, and then when you come back, it'll be a welcome relief from Call of Cthulhu because your characters aren't insane and dead.
Yeah.
That's true.
But also, you can also, take a brief break, but have the GM, I'm a DM, I've played too many games. I usually default to the generic GM. But, have the dungeon master, contact the individuals and find out what they would like to see happen to their character at some point in the future. Get them involved a little bit, because if they're starting to lose interest, that's one way to get them back. I mean, if they may have completely insane goals, but that's one thing that, for instance, the LARP that Kim participates in does is people can go to plot and go, I would really like to see my character achieve this at some point. What do I need to get there?
Mm-hmm.
And that way they're more involved in the long, and then they feel like they've got a more personal stake in what might be coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And that can reinvigorate the player's interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. With the gaming group I used to run with in the early 90s, there were at least 3 games going on at any one particular time, and D&D was one, Shadowrun was another, or Cyberpunk for that matter, and the third one was usually BattleTech. It was just something, different in, game mechanics and things like that, just to break it up so that one DM didn't have the burnout, or the players didn't have the burnout, and we were able to just kind of focus on one something else for a couple of months. Then we came back to the original game.
Okay. What about you, Jim? Do you?
Okay. Well, a couple things. I don't like the idea of stopping gaming and pursuing another hobby for a little while, because that ends up never just being for a little while. If you break the rhythm.
Well, let me tell you. I started gaming to have something to do between stage shows. Look what happened.
Yeah, but if you break the rhythm of getting the group together, you're going to have problems getting them back together when you're ready. So you want to do something that keeps that rhythm going. Now, if you're really just wanting to take a break but want to get back to it, switching to another role-playing game is dangerous, because people might decide, we want to stick with this for the next 2 years.
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you play Call of Cthulhu, because everybody dies and goes insane.
So I suggest like a board game, card game, still gamey type things, but a totally different format. That's
like
sounds
Settlers of Catan couldn't last 2 years.
Except for something like Magic, which falls under the same category of, we want to do this for the next 2 years.
And spend how much money?
That's when they all get their gamer cards revoked.
Yes.
And then the other thing you do, and I actually did this a few years ago when I was just hating preparing games every week. It was just something I didn't want to do it anymore. So I made one last adventure. I didn't tell the players it was one last adventure.
Ouch.
And the end of the adventure were the player characters going through a magical gate. And then I took all my DM notes, turned to the guy that happened to be to my left and said, "Okay, we're now in your world. Show up next week with an adventure ready."
But I don't have a world. You do now.
Yes.
Get to work.
What ended up happening is that at the end of every session, they ended up just passing the GM notes around. So
Yes.
took turns.
I don't want to be the guy on the left anymore.
So it turned into a D&D version of Sliders.
The D&D version of Beautiful Corpse.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so and that's when I discovered, because that was the first time I was able to play in years and years and years. And that's when I discovered I'm the kind of player nobody likes, because I just sit there and I listen, and then I try to figure out how to beat the scenario without actually playing the scenario. Just totally go around the back door and, hamstring everything and say, "Ha ha, I win." It never works out, but the attempt screws up any plans the DM ever had.
Well, that brings up another point. Another way to if you have DM burnout, be a player for a while. If you have player burnout, try some DMing for a while.
That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, and that doesn't break up the like you said, the rhythm and the dynamic of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know a lot of groups who have like revolving DMs.
Yep.
in the same game, maybe not the same world, but in the same game system.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in the same world.
Speaking of character types that people hate having as players, my friend Kim she's a great player. I mean, she loves to play, but she is the kind of player type you hate for a completely different reason, because she will, within the first half hour of a mystery type game, intuit the ending without realizing it. Always, almost always. In fact, I've had people come to me and go, "Okay, I'm running a game for Kim. You have to help me come up with an ending she won't guess."
God.
She should be a script writer.
Well, it's just she puts the pieces together really fast, but it's completely on an intuitive level, and it's nothing she could put facts to. Mm-hmm. It's really she's playing the GM half the time without thinking of it.
Is this something she can shut up about?
Well, the problem is she'll say something like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if so and so was the monster?" And you're like, ugh.
Yeah. Then you just want Whapper with a rule book or something.
But she doesn't realize it. She's just saying it as an offhand thing, and that's what makes it so funny. Anyway.
Then you do a Vince thing, and you just say, "Okay, I'll just put the dungeon over here instead." Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, what else you got, Brian?
Okay, got another email by the same man. This one is more of a game mechanic question he has.
Okay, I'll try.
Oh, yeah, this is fairly easy actually. Basically, he says he's running a second edition game in Ravenloft, and one of the characters is half Vistani, which I'm not exactly sure what that means, but
half Vistani.
Yeah,
Vistani. That much I know. The Vistani are the gypsies of the plane.
Okay, yeah, and he says they get a bonus of +1 to their intelligence and wisdom, and it bumps the character up to a 19. He said they allowed it, even though a part of him thinks that he should have capped it at 18 as a human maximum. Because of this, he has access to 8 languages. There's an optional rule that allows the PC to make an extra 8 slots for non-weapon proficiencies. Now, he usually allows an either or like if you take four non-weapon proficiencies, you only get 4 languages. But the player was able to talk him into allowing 8 languages and 8 NWP slots.
Nice.
Yeah, you basically kind of got scammed a little bit there.
Yeah, but if you understand, if the player is able to sweet talk you into that, then they're obviously suited to playing that kind of character.
Possibly.
I turned to him and go, okay, good. You're going to DM now. You know how to scam the system? You play the system.
And mysteriously, every NPC you meet speaks none of the 8 languages you know.
Yeah.
See, all 8 languages you get are text.
If I was going to
TXT.
Oh God. Seriously?
You speak text, lol, oh really, for reals, and
oh wow. Yeah, see, that's a creative answer. That'd be actually funny.
Is. Now, see, I've heard about like people who have, they have X amount of languages, they get extra spells.
Mm-hmm.
Based on how many languages they have, but I've never heard of non-weapon proficiencies like this.
Well, in the end, it's not gonna break the game. It's just the guy's gonna be like, in the end, it's not gonna break the game if the character has, speaks 8 languages. I mean, my whole thing is that you just have to remember, and I'm going to probably throw this in a reply to his email, is that this character he's not fluent in these languages. Just remember that. He can speak, he can understand it. He speaks with probably a horrible accent, but it's not as if he can just, walk into, the middle of an elven nation and speak elven as if he was born one. You know what I mean?
He can't pass for a native, in other words.
No, not at all.
Yeah. They laugh because he has a funny accent when he's speaking it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the elven people giggle.
Or he speaks it all with a trading accent. Well, there's a certain, there's in a lot of those sort of fantasy contexts, you have a trade language of some kind. He just speaks it with an accent of trade.
Yeah.
Traders.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Or you just hit him with a feeble mind spell.
Yeah. There we go.
Reduced to
There's a million solutions to this kind of problem.
And he's just drooling and yeah.
Oh, that'll be a fun character to tote around. No, actually, I had a similar situation in a non-fantasy game once. I had somebody make a character who had skills just up the wazoo because he found all the optional rules. We were trying out a rule system.
Mm-hmm.
I was reviewing it. Mm-hmm. And he decided his character was a 9-year-old genius. Because that was acceptable in the context of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And he figured out where to put all the skills, and he gave himself a huge rating in French. And when another character who had actually crafted a character, when Robin, actually, another friend of mine, she made a character who had lived in France for a while. And so, as we played on, I kept it real. She says, I swear in French. And he goes, I laugh. I'm like, you're 9. Nobody taught you cuss words. He's like, but my skill is 3 times bigger than hers. I'm like, yeah, you can conjugate the pluperfect subjunctive really, really well.
Oh, going deep into the grammar, yes. But that doesn't mean you know how to swear because you're 9.
There's complicating the game, and then there's needlessly complicating the game. This is not falling into that category.
Yes, very much so. But so those are the emails from Lon Varnador.
Thank you, Lon.
Every time I see that name, I'm thinking Harry Potter, and I apologize, Lon. I really do.
Okay, we will hold you again. So we got any more emails?
No, that's pretty much it for this episode.
Okay, cool. That means we can charge on into our dragon-infested episode with option package.
My personality undergoes a startling change.
You should meet me because I'm a great guy.
I like big fat men like you. When they fall, they make more noise. And sometimes they never get up.
Option package.
Option package. Dum-dum-dum, the Draconomicon. TSR number 9297.
Yes.
Published in 1990 by, it says here, Nigel Findley et al., which usually translates to me as Nigel Findley and the Usual Bunch of Idiots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
I'm showing my Mad Magazine roots here.
The Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo.
Oh, God. Oh, she mentioned it. This was put out, what did it say? What did I say, 1990?
1990, yeah. Amazing
so
enough.
We're like hip deep in, like I said before, hip deep in second edition by this time. And now this came out after all the basic, complete books of and all that kind of crap.
No, they only did in 1990. They only did, I think, maybe 2 or 3 of the Brown Splat books.
Okay.
This one, even though they put it under the forgotten. What?
I'm sorry, a Brown Splat book just sounds dreadful.
Yeah, I know.
I keep telling him they're red. They're not brown.
Any
brown.
book that involves a brown.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's another reason to call them red.
I apologize. The first time I've encountered this term is spoken.
Yes. Edit.
Edit my ass.
Would it be rude, considering this is a second edition podcast, to say that inference of a Brown Splat book is, fitting for those things?
Yeah, I could argue against that, but you're our guest, so I won't debate you.
I loved second edition as far as the core books goes. It's the second edition to me was best when you look at the core books, when you look at the settings that were offered. That to me is the heart and the value of the second edition. The 10 million splat books, the Brown Splats, to me was the weakness of the second edition, and not including the skills and powers kind of thing later. Sorry if I'm being a heretic on your show. I'm just
we take all kinds. We take all kinds, and they're red. I know everybody says they say brown and gray. No, they're red and blue.
Okay, you're half right.
And the green ones were good.
Yeah, those are the historical.
Those are orange.
See, the problem with the Splat book is there's actually some good ones in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there are.
As a matter of fact, one of the early comments we got on the websites is like, can't you review some of the bad ones too? And it's like, well, when we come to one, we'll let you know. Yep. I know they're out there. Mm-hmm. We just haven't got to them yet.
Right. Yeah, we're basically trying to randomize stuff so that we don't go through one particular section all the way through and then we have nothing else for the duration of however long our show lasts. We try to do a grab bag of stuff. As I was saying, the Draconomicon, even though it's under the Forgotten Realms banner, they could have easily just made it a generic splat book, because as we will discuss in another segment very shortly, Dragons in second edition got a power upgrade, and a pretty significant one at that. And although they got the power upgrade, there wasn't quite enough in the monstrous manuals to kind of flesh out the different kinds of dragons, the personalities. It just basically in the monstrous manuals, it was just rough and ready. There was enough to put them in combat with the PCs and where they would be located, climate-wise, and of course their treasure and all that other stuff, and then just go. The Draconomicon actually goes in depth quite a bit more about dragons and things
the dragon, aside from being the iconic representation of this game, is one of those unique monsters where you cannot just have a squad of dragons.
No.
They have to be crafted for the scenario and have a personality. Jim, you should probably you probably agree with this more than anybody here.
Oh, yes.
About monsters should have personalities and they should be crafted for the adventure. And dragons, you can't get away with it. You got to do it. You got to, if you're going to have a dragon in there in any way, shape, or form, he's got to have some kind of personality. He's got to serve some kind of function in the plot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they had to put out more for the dragon.
Yeah, I agree.
What is it, Julie?
Oh, just thinking of, the problem is once you create dragons as having personalities, then too many people want to have them as friends.
Like hell.
Well, nice ones.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
It's like my pal's a gold dragon, a platinum dragon, a electrum dragon.
well, hey, don't laugh. They exist.
But they're sad little ones that never get used because nobody can keep track of how much they're worth.
I want a plaid dragon.
Well, the funny part is there is a section in the Draconomicon towards the end where they actually go into mixing different dragon types.
That's true.
Pink dragons.
So this book has a plaid dragon?
Well, I don't think they have a plaid one, but they have a pink one.
I want a plaid one. He's Scottish and he's my accountant.
See, that's good. Oh, okay. Where did that come from? That went right over my head.
Scrooge McDrake. Anyway.
Oh,
sorry.
But as I was saying, so yeah. I mean, this is a nice. To me, no self-respecting DM shouldn't have this. Should have this. This one supplement just goes so much in depth, and actually it takes the dragon types and turns them on their head. Like in for instance, they have in here like a gold dragon. Now, as we all know, the typical gold dragon is lawful good. They're gentle people until you piss them off. But there's one there has a neutral alignment, and all he cares about is gathering treasure. And I can just imagine, say a moderately experienced group of adventurers running across this dragon and just going, huh? This guy's kind of an ass. All he cares about is just getting more and more gold for his lair. I mean, I thought all gold
That's funny.
dragons
That sounds
nice.
Sorry. That sounds like most players.
Well, true.
Now the fun of that, if you have a normally good type of dragon that's not so good, is the players will still think they're good. So while this dragon is just being a
jerk.
Yeah, he's being a complete jerk and saying, "Oh, why don't you go do this? You need to go do that." They're like, "Oh God, that's our next quest."
Yeah, and it's like, and the thing is, they're being sent to do something that's not really pleasant, that doesn't really help out anybody except the dragon, and puts the party at significant risk in order to do it. And then it's like, as this goes on, it's I could just see the players being like, why is this guy such a jerk? Why is he acting like this? Aren't, looking towards the party mage, hey, mage, aren't gold dragons all supposed to be really nice guys for the most part?
How is robbing the king's treasure and bringing it to this gold dragon, how does that fit in with saving the world? Because that's what gold dragons do.
Exactly.
and that you can flip that over too. They have the kindly red dragon who lives in the cave over there.
Yes, they have an example in here. There's one who's chaotic neutral with good tendencies, actually. He's
who's gonna trust that though?
That's the fun part.
I mean,
That's like having that's like casting Steve Buscemi in a romantic lead.
I bet it's been done.
He hasn't? No. What were you saying, Jim?
But you'll get to the situation where you have this kindly or nice or beneficent red dragon, and the players are just going to think it's a trick and think, okay, we're going to have to kill this one.
Just
until like the mayor of the town runs up. No. He helps keep law and order in this town.
The mayor's in on it. Kill him too.
Yeah.
Because it's a red dragon. Might as well be a big demon.
Well, my whole thing about that is that he may be a good red dragon, and the party doesn't believe it, but he's still a red dragon. He's still going to kick the party's ass.
That's right.
He's still going to be worth the same amount of experience, whatever
His points.
Actually, he
He's
probably
still got a big
negative.
horde. Yes.
You know,
Actually, yeah.
I would. That's how I'd do it if the players are acting paranoid, you know, and not believing all the indicate. Of course, you have to put indicators out there to show, hey, this dragon isn't exactly what you think he might be. And of course, there are players who will blithely ignore that.
Like
and say,
doilies on all the furniture and.
Yeah, I do it if that got my point across. I do something like that.
And you know what? It really becomes a challenge to play a paladin at that time.
Yes,
a real challenge.
Because I can certainly see that red dragon, and the paladin's just after, you know, he gets up from the big question mark that comes falling out of the sky and flattens him for a couple of minutes, you know, because he's just so confused about it. You know, once he comes out of it and he trusts his detect evil, and there's not a speck of evil emanating from this dragon, and usually, you know, a paladin who does a detect evil on a typical red dragon, the things would be lit up like a freaking arc light.
Candle,
yeah. You know, so, and you know, that's one of those things where it's like the paladin be like, look, guys, don't do this. This isn't what you think it is. Then of course, you know, it all comes down to players and, you know, how well they're able to play it out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. What else have we got in this book? We got, what was it, Dragon Psychology?
Yes.
The Dragon Hall of Fame. There you will find Tiamat and Behemoth.
Yeah.
And others.
Yes, et al.
New species, which I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Like the steel dragon, the yellow dragon. You know, like I said, there's a section in here where they actually talk about crossing different dragon types to make new dragons.
Okay,
you know.
At that point, I burn my animal husbandry degree.
Yeah, the problem is that, you know, because dragons are all intelligent, crossing them isn't as easy as you think. It involves roofies and
you know,
and some Barry White.
You know, I could certainly see like, you know, a red dragon just for whatever reason, if only just to be a complete evil and total a-hole, to seduce a silver dragon and come up with, you know, some sort of crossbreed, getting the female dragon pregnant. You know, I could see that. But I mean, it's one of those things where I think they came up with this chapter sort of, you know, just say, here's how to throw a curveball. Your party's standing at the plate, they're waiting for the fastball. Here, throw it this way, and they're going to swing and miss, and then they're going to look at you and they're going to give you a dirty look when the game's over.
The characters are
silver dragon with a red dragon would make like a pink chrome dragon.
Yeah, something like that.
And the
question is,
armor.
You know,
yes.
Getting into these kind of things, I'm just wondering how many dragons are in some people's campaigns to where you need to do this so you're not bored anymore of dragons.
Well,
that's
a very good question. One thing I will say, in one of the games I played, we actually went through Forgotten Realms hunting dragons, and the whole thing is that, you know, all our characters were up around 10th level, with significant amounts of magic, and we would just find the closest evil dragon and scout him out, and then just go and try to beat him down and take his take his horde. You know, I just think that, you know, as far as that goes, I think with the very veteran players who know dragon statistics, you know, they could recite them in their sleep. I think that's one of those. Yeah, I know. I sigh right along with you, Julie. I do. I really do, because I hate those kind of players. But you know, I think that every now and then it's, you know, just good, and it's good to just give them something familiar but different, so that they don't think that it's, you know, that if they see this in front of them, that it's automatically something they see in page 100 of the Monstrous Compendium or whatever.
Now, I also noticed in this book they have dragon spells, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Now, excuse me, there's 10 dragon spells here. I can see at least one that a fighter or other player character would kill to have, which is breath block.
Oh, yeah. I would say so, yeah.
Totally blocks all dragon breath in a wall in front of you.
Yeah.
I can see the barbarian going, please, give me the spell. Please.
You know what? I could see, you know what? When I see this spell, I think of that one scene in Dragon Slayer. Where basically he has to kneel behind that shield while the dragon breathes fire on him for like a minute.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it blocks it.
Yeah. It's a good spell.
They also got stuff like venom dust. Hand. How does a giant dragon manipulate little things? With the hand spell. Fire trail. I'm giving that to my next dragons who want to take out of town.
Yeah, think about that. Yeah, can you say like, napalm bombing anyone?
Yeah, it's like his tail. He flies and his tail drops like little cinders who don't burn very long, but it can catch anything on fire it lands on.
Yeah, it's
and one of my favorite, find humanoid familiar.
Yeah, that's great. that in itself is just awesome.
Hi, I'm Fire the Red Dragon, and this is my pet orc.
Yep. Sherman the Dragon and his pet orc.
Yeah.
But
Mr. Peabody the Dragon.
Yes, that's what I meant. Damn lack of sleep. Made me mess up my own joke, darn it.
Oh, darn.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's not.
A Hunter's Guide, miscellaneous information, they rounded out with 4 adventures.
Yes. Which is actually pretty cool that, they actually put a little extra meat on the bone at the end.
Right.
Where the players can just run into these different scenarios where they don't know exactly what they're up against until maybe about halfway through. And then all of a sudden they're at the end. They think they've come to the end of it. Then all of a sudden there's this great worm dragon standing there.
Yeah.
You ruined
that's the old crap moment.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, any last words on this Splat book? I kind of, I haven't been able to look at it real close like Brian did, but I'm kind of falling in love with it.
Yeah, it's like I said, if you want to just make just give your dragons a little extra shine, something, or even do something a little different, this is the book for you. Definitely.
Right. And I haven't even gotten into the other people who helped out Nigel here, Christopher Cuba, and the artist, Christopher Cuba, Carl Sargent, the designers for the adventures, and the color and black and white art's got people like Brom, Terry Dykstra, Fred Fields, Robin Rash, I should say. And these are like the second, the second wave of TSR artists.
Yeah.
But they're still really good.
This is like one of those where you get to see what Brom did before, they gave him the keys to Dark Sun, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And a cover by an easily cover.
Yes.
So, can we find this? Is this hard to find? Is this easy to find? What are they?
Well, from what you told me, it's easy for you to find.
Oh, well, as far as I'm concerned, this is one of those Splat books that you don't see them the same one every time like the Complete Wizard's Handbook, Complete Fires. But every once in a while, you'll see a Draconomic on there.
Yeah, every so often.
Yeah.
You can probably find them online pretty easily, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going for on eBay, but I'm thinking something like the mid-range in price.
What, about $20, $25 maybe?
Something like that. It's kind of rare, but not like as rare as, say, the Complete Book of Necromancers.
Yeah, where that's easily 3 figures nowadays.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, go look for your online, your local bookstore, that kind of thing. Really great book. Now let's move on to Rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Okay, Rule 0. More in our Dragon Quest here. About how telling about how dragons got a power upgrade and running them in combat.
Right.
Which is a lot different from like basic and first.
Mm-hmm.
Because they got more punch.
Oh yeah, quite a bit more punch actually. Not only did they get an upgrade in hit dice, but also the amount of damage they inflict. In melee combat, now they get a damage bonus equal to their age category. So a Great Worm gets like a plus 12 to damage on top of whatever he's actually doing. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but they also gave dragons a lot more tactics. Like a typical dragon can buff it with his wings, or do kicks with their hind legs, tail slaps, and things like that. They're not just like claw, bite, or breathe. Now all of a sudden they can do things to hamper a party. A lot better.
They're not a one-trick pony anymore.
No, they have quite a little bag of tricks now.
Ninja dragons.
All right, Julie. But that's a good thought. That's a real good thought. So
that would presumably be the black dragon.
Yes. Now I'm curious, Jim. Say you were running Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and you wanted to use a dragon. I know this is not second edition, but you wanted to use a dragon in Lamentations. How would you go about it?
Oh, okay. Well, first you have to decide what is the dragon. Is this some legendary great smog type beast, or is it one of those lame medieval dragons? It's basically a big lizard that's in a cave up in a hill. So you got to figure out exactly what you're doing with it. What is its purpose for being there? What does it do? And from there, you figure out what to do so it'll kill anybody that tries to mess with it. Because it's a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially when you're playing a Dungeons and Dragons kind of game. It's this balance, because you want the dragon to be impressive. On the other hand, there's no point if the players can't ever slay a dragon.
That's right. It's got to be a dragon with a capital D.
Yes. I think what I would do is make it a dragon that's, mid-level. Not quite smog. It'll come down and wipe out cities, because that's... it's a little more epic than I like to run, but you want it to be a little more than just this lizard that all the villagers are like, oh, it's a great dragon,
Yeah, then when you get there, it's like just a giant gecko lizard or something like that.
So it's just slightly more than a nuisance.
I'm only here because gecko sounds like Geico.
Oh,
God, thank you, Julie.
I should not leave the door open for you like that, Julie. I really shouldn't. Wow.
So Jim, how would you bend a dragon to weird fantasy though?
Well, the last time I used a dragon, it was doing this deal where this, the woman from these games is going to be sacrificed to the great dragon in the mountains who protects the valley. The twist there was that the dragon was long dead. So, everyone's scared of this dragon. They just don't know that it's not alive anymore. So they go up and they, chain the sacrifice to the post and leave. And then the woman basically dies of, exposure and starvation.
Ooh, bad way to go.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the last time I used the dragon.
I'd like to see the adventurers come up there and try and rescue the woman and find her still tied up there, half starved and dead, and all these other skeletons of other women.
Yeah.
Tied up to other posts.
Wow, that is pretty freaky.
To make it even worse, there were dwarves that knew about this, sacrifice. So they would wait for the villagers to come up, and this woman would, have all these jewels and everything to appease the dragon. So the dwarves would just come, rob her, but leave her tied up there.
Wow.
Oh, God. These weren't like Sniverblin or
deep gnomes.
Deep gnomes or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a big hate on for the dwarves. The dwarves were like the big enemy for a while in the campaign because they were just bastards.
But that's a good one. I like that. Dragon's dead, so we'll just steal her and leave her. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they're not murderers. They're not going to kill the woman, and they don't want to bring her with them. And then if they let her go, she's going to tell them, "Oh, there's no dragon. It's just a bunch of dwarves, and there'll be no more women with jewels coming up the mountain." So,
they could have enslaved him.
Well, yeah, that's just work.
Why? Well, you get a housekeeper and a cook.
Keeping them in
human women whine too much.
Yeah, keeping them in line can be a little tough. And
just ask sleepy, dopey, grumpy, and no.
Yes. But that's cool. I like that. That's a good twist on it.
That's pretty evil, Jim. I like it.
But if I was okay, thank you. But if I was going to actually use a dragon, I think I would want the dragon to be more of a mastermind behind the scenes. Because if it's a dragon that's just stuck down in the 5th level of a dungeon, that's just lame. What dragon is going to, be trapped like that? But if it's this big, powerful dragon that, makes itself known and flies around and terrorizes people and eats crops, you're going to have every dragon slayer on the continent wanting to take a crack at it.
True.
So why would it be the player characters that get the chance? So what you do is you have the dragon that's responsible for some bandit gang or something. Nobody knows there's a dragon connected, but the bandits, they raid the caravans, and the loot goes to the dragon.
Oh, okay, he's the chess master.
Yeah. So the dragon is impressive. It's a big climax when you find out it's a dragon, but it's not the usual setup, and there's a reason why. There aren't 50,000 other dragon slayers wanting to take the shot to get the loot because no one knows about it.
That would be the Dragon Moriarty.
Yes.
Sure,
yes.
Why not? I mean, if the town's big enough, he could run the Thieves Guild or actually have a crime network going in the town, and he gets his usual large cut.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, because this dragon has a different idea of treasure because he's interrupting commerce through his underlings, the players show up, and it's not just all gold piled up, but it's commodities. It's like, whoa, look at all that wool. But it's valuable in quantity,
Yep, I agree.
Why are there bonds here in the name of a Mr. Smoke in the bank?
We must investigate.
Mr. Smoke? That's good. That's good. See, you don't always have to fight them, folks. You got to outthink them. Anyway.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, which is pretty hopeless.
Yeah.
Which leads into Dragons in Combat. I mean, now it's 2nd edition. They're beefed up. Claw, Bite just ain't going to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
Just for that. How would a dragon think tactically to fight a bunch of adventurers?
Well, let's see. First thing, if he's sitting in his lair and the PCs are coming to get him, you basically put as much between them and it as possible. That's the first thing. Traps, underlings, what have you. I mean, depending on
minions.
Yeah, definitely minions. And the more the PCs are wearing themselves down fighting the minions, the easier the dragon's going to have of it when they actually they actually get there.
And there's nothing saying that the dragon didn't set up the dungeon in the first place.
Oh yeah. I remember in that campaign I was talking about when we went after a blue dragon. The blue dragon actually was smart enough to, of course, his lair's in the middle of the desert, of course, but one of his tricks is that he had a magic item that created water, and so all throughout his level, of course, there's about 6 inches of water, in his lair. And the DM says that, and I'm like, uh-oh. Because, of course, if the dragon breathes...
Did you have leather armor on or metal armor on?
I think my ranger at the time had armor made out of black dragon scale, actually. So
okay.
She was safe, but let's just say the one of the fighters didn't fare so well, because his ruling basically was, you know what, if you're standing in 6 inches of water and you get lightning breathed on you, you get no save.
Yeah.
You get no save. So
that's excellent. That's an excellent tactic.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking back. I'm also thinking about back to the basics. I mean, yeah. Pile a mountain of gold in front of you. By the time they hit that ridge, you get them.
Mm-hmm.
You breathe on them or something like that.
Yeah.
That's an easy thing to do. And if you're standing between them and the exit, or you sitting between them and the exit, see where I'm going?
No, I get you.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, but as far as the actual physical tactics, I mean, I think they came up with some of these things, like the tail slap and the kicks and the wing buffets and stuff like that, was, to combat the fact that one of the easiest ways to defeat a dragon is to spread out and attack it from all sides. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And with the first edition dragon, I mean, the worst thing you had to worry about was its breath, because the damage was so high and it was so consistent. I mean, it was a static number that basically, if you spread out, it could only kill one person at a time.
That's true.
So, I mean, I remember we were fighting another dragon, and one of the things is that he would, actually, as a tactic, he would go at the strongest fighter and basically had to run up a hill to get to him. And by the time we got to him, he would just be like, okay, that one's the strongest fighter. Okay, fine. Kick him. And, and basically what the kick does, it does the claw damage, but it also, the creature struck has to save versus dex or be knocked back 1 to 6 feet plus 1 foot per age category. So basically, you basically got kicked back down the hill.
You got kicked back in time.
Yep. And you basically gets knocked all the way back down the hill. And so now you're out of the fight for a combat round or two while you get yourself together and run back up the hill. That was a tough fight, I have to admit.
Kicked me so hard my hirelings felt it.
Exactly.
Yeah. God almighty.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You guys out there? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Not to mention that if this is the dragons, if it's their home territory, they're going to know every single thing in there that they can use against you.
Yep.
And high ground is really easy to do and surprisingly effective.
And a dragon can also create its own high ground when you think about it.
I often thought of, as much as I don't like the Dragonlance setting, the fact that they have steel for money gave me ideas about stuff like that. Yeah, have a hoard of steel coins and then breathe electricity on them while they're hip deep in them.
Yeah, that's a conductor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think though, dragon combat tactics. If you're thinking in terms of being in their lair and using these physical attacks, the dragon's already screwed up. Now, I'm assuming we're not talking about a young, inexperienced dragon or, a dumbass white dragon. I'm talking one of the...
Is that the kind that hangs out at Walmart?
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking, a normal adult dragon, still, hundreds of years old, and most of them are pretty intelligent.
Yes.
So, the combat and the thinking about combat, it shouldn't be in their lair. The biggest advantage a dragon is going to have is its mobility.
Yep.
Right.
Now, and it's going to know its adversaries before going into combat. So you should never set up a dragon to where it's like, okay, you turn to the left and there's a door and it's a dragon's lair, and roll for surprise, everyone. And
a small room filled with golden gems.
Hush
Yeah.
up.
I'm sorry. I could not help it.
So you're gonna have to come up with ways for the dragon to know who's coming from a good distance that'll allow the dragon to set up the situation, to its best advantage. I mean, if it's going to be indoors, and wait for the enemy to come to it, it's going to be this huge cavern. I mean, huge. Think of underneath Moria from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the mines.
Definitely want room to maneuver.
Room to maneuver, and you have to come up with things. It's like, okay, how would this dragon know who's coming down the corridor? You've got to set things up for it, because this dragon is not going to sit there and say, I'm going to be surprised by every human that comes through this door. I'm going to have no idea who it is and just, press my luck with strangers.
Yeah.
No, dragon's not going to get to, he's not going to get to an advanced age category with that kind of thinking.
Oh, I agree totally. I mean, the only way that a dragon gets really surprised by a party is if they go all out to avoid pretty much every method of detection that a dragon has. And
it'd be like breaking into Alcatraz.
Yeah,
that's
something.
How you have to set it up, like a heist to get into the dragon lair without it knowing you're there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And of course, a dragon's going to have enough defenses and enough should have enough personal defenses that it's going to be really hard, and but there should be a chance, just a small one. Not there shouldn't be zero chance. There should be a small one, small chance.
And also, there's yes, Julie.
I had this picture in my head of somebody who's collaborating with the dragon, sending people their way, and the only way to avoid detection is to rub yourself in garlic first. The dragon, thanks for sending all of those pre-basted adventurers.
Oh, I've got you one better. Actually, I heard this story from a friend of mine. Basically, they were going up against what they thought was a black dragon, and there was an agent in town that said, who supposedly was like someone who got maimed by the dragon, but of course was, complete and total fallacy. They basically said, okay, this is what you do. Because we got there, it's just we weren't strong enough to beat him. This is what you do. Now there's going to be this one cavern before you get to the dragon's lair, and it's got black dust on the ground. And you cover yourselves with that, and that's how we're able to get close to him. Now, see, the thing is that there wasn't just that black dust on the ground in the cavern before the lair. It was also in the lair itself, and the black. It
wasn't pepper, was it?
Huh?
It wasn't pepper, was it?
No, worse. It was coal dust.
Gunpowder.
It was coal dust.
Oh.
And of course the dragon wasn't a black, it was a red who had rolled in the coal dust. So they end up walking into the lair thinking the dragon's asleep. Of course the dragon's wide ass awake because he's already got advance warning. He breathes on them and kills them outright. And the players were like, how'd they do that? I said, let's see, what was the breath weapon? Oh, that's right, it was fire. Oh, you guys covered yourselves in that black dust? That was coal dust. No save. You guys basically created a small explosion, which of course the dragon's going to survive, and you guys basically got blown to pieces.
Another reason, though, that dragons are not going to want to have the fight in their lair is because, especially with the red dragon, all that fire is going to damage the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having this wonderful pile of coins, you're going to get this big yellow slag. You don't want that. And another thing that dragons can do to really screw players over, because really isn't that what we're here to give advice for?
In the case of dragons,
Remember the old Endless Quest books? The second one in the series, I believe, was Mirror Mountain, something like that. And the picture was an Elmore piece, I believe, that had a frost giant and a white dragon side by side.
That must have been a party.
Yeah, well, that gives me ideas. What if you have a dragon that pairs himself up with a giant? The red and the fire giant, the blue and a storm giant. Or they or a cloud giant. You know, they've got things that fit that way. And then the dragon pretends to be a dumb animal. And the giant seems to be the one giving the orders. Ha ha, I'm in charge, puny humans. Rover, do stuff. So the players are going to be thinking, that's the mastermind. Get rid of him, and this is easy. But it's really the dragon calling the shots, and the whole thing is just a diversionary tactic.
Yeah.
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 But he keeps telling me to rub my butt in the cave floor. Never mind. Sorry.
I don't want to know.
Never
okay.
mind. Dogs do that, all right?
Yes, I know.
You'd have to make sure it was a young dragon, or else most players quote.
But that's a good idea. That's a good idea. The brains behind
Not
in the
really
outfit.
a young dragon. I'm a midget dragon.
Uh-huh.
Well, maybe it's a 9-year-old genius dragon.
Maybe.
A toy poodle dragon.
Who can speak French really well.
Yes.
But doesn't know one curse word in French? Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Folks, dragon combat tactics. You got any? We want to hear them. I'm sorry. You got them. We want to hear about them. THACOshammer@gmail.com, or we have a number, right?
Yes, 405-806-0555.
I think we're like halfway through the show, and I forgot to say all that stuff.
Better late than never.
That's true. That's true. Let's get into Loaded for Bear.
How bare is it? I'm sorry.
Bet you don't have a pair of these, Earthling.
And for the big critters, sometimes you got to bring out the nuclear weaponry.
Loaded for Bear.
Loaded for Bear. Okay. Dragon scale armor. Going on with the dragon theme. Brian.
Yes, sir.
Dragon hide can be made into dragon scale armor, shields, things like that, correct?
That is correct. Basically the ruling in second edition is that if you make a suit of armor out of dragon hide, it basically is 4 points higher than the armor class that the dragon had. So
really?
Yeah. So for example, if of course, then that's when it chooses my PDF reader to lock up. There we go. Let's just say, for example, in a very old black dragon, which is category 8. It's has an armor class of -3. So if you took the time to craft a suit of armor from it, it would actually have an armor class of 1, which would be like the equivalent of field plate.
Right.
So, because, of course, as the dragon gets older, its hide gets harder. It gets harder and harder to hurt one.
Right.
So.
Now, I got a question.
I'm listening.
You make dragon hide armor.
Okay.
Okay, you're getting the AC bonus. I know that.
Right.
But as far as resisting other abilities of dragons, it would depend on the color of the dragon you make the armor out of, right?
Absolutely. In the Monstrous Manual listing says there are no special immunities you get from it, but I'm like, no, that's BS. It's not going to kill the campaign to give the wearer of that armor, that black dragon armor, a +2 save bonus versus acid attacks.
Okay.
It just does, it's fine. And then, of course, once the armor's made, of course, you can have it enchanted. So, it's, I like it just because, it's something just away from the typical chainmail, plate mail armor and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that's a nice variation. Of course, you're going to have a hit put out on you by every dragon of that color that you finds out about it.
Unless they recognize the tattoos and realize that was Uncle Fred who they didn't like.
Oh, okay. What did you say, Jim?
Okay, well, think about it. Think about your reaction the first time you ever saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and you realized that Leatherface's mask was made from human skin. Or watching Silence of the Lambs. Was it Buffalo Bill, the guy that was making a dress out of human skin?
Put the potion in the bear skin! Sorry.
Yes. Now think about the revulsion, how creepy those guys are.
Absolutely.
Right.
You're going to be that guy to every dragon on Earth. I mean, do you think a gold dragon's going to think, hey, he's A-okay, he killed a red dragon to get that dragon skin? No, he's going to be like, ah!
Yeah,
See, this is why I would never pull that crap in your games, Jim.
I could certainly see a gold dragon kind of giving you just this askance look, like, you really did that. I mean, it's okay because it was a red and it wasn't any of my kin, but really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole thing is,
don't touch me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could do this to a red dragon, you know. Yeah. But hey, you know, if you could do stuff like hide it under other armor, which is probably impossible.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, you know, it's like, oh no, just wear a chain. See the chain? No, it's just got this red tint because it's I had him dye it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What if you make a padded jack and just use the scales sewn in?
Never thought of that.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would think,
wow, that actually
for
gives me
practical
thought.
purposes, you only ever want to wear the dragon scale armor when you absolutely 100% know that no dragons will be involved. It's almost like a ceremonial thing. You appear before the king.
Or if
Badass.
you want to... Yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to say, or if you want to know, absolutely, you're going up against this color dragon, and you don't care.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you know what? You're badass enough that you were...
At that point, you want the protection.
Yeah,
you
you're going to want it. I agree.
You better be the guy with the most hit points in your party. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Or the fastest runner.
Yeah. I don't have to be the fastest runner. I just got to run the cleric there. Yeah.
He's going to ignore the cleric if you're wearing the dragon scale armor.
That's true. Now, what about, say, okay, you don't want to do the whole armor thing just because of those reasons. Shield.
Well,
dragon scale shield. That thing you can hide until necessary.
Yeah. My whole thing is I always thought that you could make shields just as easily out of the scales as you could a suit of armor. I mean, the average adult dragon is like 80 feet long. So I'm like, sure. You just take like one to three scales and just do what you have to do in order to create a shield. I mean, they say in the Monstrous Manual that there's no bonus there either, but I'm like, BS, come on. Dragons, whether they're alive or dead, are special.
Right.
I mean, wizards want dragon blood for all kinds of things. They want the internal organs of dragons, of course.
They want the scales.
Of course.
The horns.
Dragon scale cup.
Thank you.
Wow. No, to drink wine out of, Glenn.
Oh,
no.
Thank you. I was. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
No, I think that.
I know how she thinks.
Okay. I thought she'd probably say something like codpiece if she was going to go there. But,
no, cod pieces are decorative. Cups are for protection.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, I think you were going to say...
Julie, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. Come on now. Oh.
Well,
Shield bikini.
What'd you say, Jen?
Shields are not quite as bad as armor because you're not wearing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But dragons are still intelligent creatures that can talk to you, and now you're like making tools out of it.
Yep.
And I don't want to make this too heavy, but that's an extremely creepy thing to do. You're not Leatherface making a mask out of human skin, but making a shield out of dragon scale. This is still an intelligent creature. You can talk to it. They've got a culture in society. You just think they're evil, so it's okay to do this. It's kind of like making the human lampshade, you know?
What if you run into a goth dragon who thinks it's awesome?
Creepy. Yeah.
Or a Nazi dragon who saw this in the camps. Yeah.
I mean,
a dragon
I can see, of course,
survivor.
most players are going to take a look at this and they're going to run the numbers and they're going to realize, yes, this is more effective. I'm going to be a badass in this. But, that being a badass at with that method, there's a price. I mean, these are dragons. There should be consequences for screwing around and baiting dragons.
But at the same time, that also gives warning to all the other dragons is that you better watch your step if you mess with this person. Because he already took out one of your kind and is wearing its skin as armor and for its shield.
Yeah, so they're going to be even sneakier and more vicious with you.
Perhaps.
That's the point. That's at that point you go, I just found it in the treasure there. I didn't do this.
Yeah.
I was going to find a proper place to bury it properly. With respect.
Or you intimidate the dragon so much that by the time you get to their lair, it's empty. They left.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm not dealing with that guy. Look,
That guy with the
he's
shield is coming.
Yep.
Yeah. Screw this. I'm out of here. Yeah. Puts his hat on, grabs his bags, and goes. Yeah, I can see that too.
Don't
folks,
fail, you know.
Folks, you got any dragon scale armor tales? We'd love to hear it at thacoshammer@gmail.com or at osrgaming.org, dragonsfoot, purpleworm.org, and all the other usual places. Let's go into people skills.
Let's.
The face is familiar. It's mine. And so it is.
Oh, yes, of course. It stands out a mile, doesn't it? He's so common.
The little lady comes in here and starts throwing her butt around. What is that supposed to do?
All right, forget I said anything.
Maybe I will.
Well, that's pretty good.
Then don't tell me you weren't looking at it.
Well, that's not half bad.
She's giving it right back to you.
People skills.
People skills. Role-playing... This just sort of led into that, you see. Role-playing dragons. Now, we all know every color seems to have a personality type. Or tends to be that way.
Yes.
So, how can you get a variation within that?
Well, the thing is that with dragons being how they are, I would think the exception to the rule is a lot more exceptional than you might think. I mean, as far as personality goes, I mean, bronze dragons are friendly, gold dragons are regal, silver dragons love humans, a little too much. Red dragons just like to kill things and take their stuff. They don't give a crap.
Isn't the bronze dragon the one that likes to polymorph into something like a human or a cat or something and go into town and watch people?
Yes, to test people.
Yeah.
They do that. They will actually polymorph themselves into something like, just like a lost little girl or something like that, and just sort of
Yoda.
Something exactly. Yeah, I cannot teach him.
So that's what
like his father.
So that's what the Dungeon Master was in that cartoon show.
It might as well have been.
Yeah.
Just normal skin tones instead of green.
Yeah.
But as far as role-playing dragons, I mean, we've been kind of dancing on this for throughout the show. I mean, it's like Julie and James have said, they can be the one pulling the strings, as far as a party investigates an area and they find a whole bunch of wrong things going on and they try to sort it out, but the bad guys always seem to be like maybe a half step ahead of them, no matter what they try to do.
Right.
As far as personalities, I mean, red dragons are bullies, straight up. I mean, green dragons, they can be bullies, but they would much rather they'd much rather just try to accumulate power by whatever means necessary. Intimidation works just as well as just killing people.
Whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Blue dragons are reclusive. They don't want to. Go ahead.
No, I had a question. I know several ages of dragons from like very young to venerable. But what's the dragon that's closest in size to a human?
That would be like a hatchling.
A polymorphed one.
Oh, okay, a polymorphed one. I just had this image of this dragon as the leader of a highwayman group.
Oh, like the one that got strung up in the picture in the player's handbook?
No, I'm talking about one that's like, okay, he polymorphs a human, stand and deliver.
Right.
That kind of thing. Or one that become what?
You think adamant is a sorry.
Oh, jeez. No.
I'm also
thinking
of
highway, but it's stand and deliver. I'm sorry.
I'm also thinking of, say, a dragon who like polymorphed into a human to be the leader of a pirate band.
Mm-hmm.
A seafaring dragon.
Yeah, I could certainly see that. You know,
or a pirate band that has a dragon for a benefactor who goes with them on their raids.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that. There are a couple.
Follow him north, but he be flying north by northwest. We go that way. You know.
You just wanted to do the pirate voice.
I don't know if I buy the dragon, disguising himself as a highwayman. I mean, really, if you're going to try to rob someone, what's more intimidating?
But what's more fun?
For the fun of the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I can see a bronze dragon do that.
I mean, bronze dragons, they wouldn't do. I could see a brass dragon doing.
Brass dragon, thank you.
Yeah, bronze dragons are just really nice people. They wouldn't do such things.
Like I think it was brass dragons. A lot of times they're in it for the fun.
Mm-hmm.
They mess with people for the fun of it.
Yeah, they'll just do that. They love playing pranks and stuff like that. But yeah, I could see a brass dragon, being leader of a pirate band, and he's like polymorphed just into just this normal pirate captain type, and no one would know.
Let's get into let's end this segment right now, because this leads into the next segment, which was really good, and we can continue this in there. So, folks, tell us about how you role play dragons. THACOshammer@gmail.com. And now we're off into a snipe hunt.
If you only had a living brain.
What do you think, escaped gorilla?
Listen, you're making enough noise to wake up the dead.
I don't have to wake him up. He's up.
It's time for a snipe hunt.
Snipe hunt. Draconians.
One of my favorite monsters.
This is why I wanted to continue there, because stuff like this would lead. I mean, they would be naturals for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. There are a couple of types that would play perfectly into it. Yes,
like pirates, bandits, thieves, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Draconians came from Dragonlance, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
But the concept of the Draconian from beginning to end is too good just to keep in Dragonlance. I'm sorry.
That's
every game I've ever run, at some point the party's going to run into Draconians.
Yeah, because it's like the Helmed Horrors from Forgotten Realms. You can't keep them in just one campaign.
No, I certainly don't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes. Go ahead, Glenn.
And these are the Monstrous Compendium Dragonlance supplement?
That's correct. That is
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6. I saw 6 different kinds.
Actually 5.
5? Okay.
Yeah, there are actually 5 kinds, although I've run across some sites on the web that actually flipped it. Now, to create a Draconian, you have to take the eggs of a good dragon and corrupt them through some magical ritual. And apparently somebody turned that on its head to where you take evil dragon eggs and quote unquote corrupt them, and they turn into good Draconians, which is kind of funny.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem, right. So what's their? I mean, obviously they look like dragon men, right?
Right. Yeah, they're correct.
Complete with tail.
Yeah, with tail and wings, although they can't fly. They basically,
that's gotta be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, well, it works to their advantage because they freak people out. Because when they actually run, they actually run on all fours and flap their wings.
Uh-huh. The Auroch Draconian, which was made out of a gold dragon, is the only one without wings.
That's correct.
Yes.
And but they have so many different powers and abilities that they don't need them.
Yeah. Not even mentioning spellcasting.
Oh God! I mean, the thing is that I'm really, really wary of using an Auroch Draconian. Unless the adventuring party is a good level, like say about 9 or 10, because one of them, if you run them, the way you should, one RAC Draconian can basically incapacitate a medium level party.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're tough. They're tough in combat to begin with, but then they have spells, then they have magic resistance, and then they have retributive. There we go. I actually pronounced it right. Retributive abilities that once you put them down to 0 hit points, they go into a berserk frenzy.
Oh wow!
For 6 rounds. That's the
and
first
then die.
thing. No, not yet. Then 6 rounds later, or after they get reduced to minus 20 hit points, then they turn into a ball of lightning that strikes as a 13 hit die monster and inflicts 2 to 12 points of damage per strike. Then, 3 rounds after that, then they explode and all within 10 feet get stunned and take like 3 to 18 damage.
And then they ascend to a higher plane.
Yeah.
Which Pokemon are these?
I'm telling you, they might as well be Pokemon. Holy crap! It's like I said, I'm really wary about using them because, I could just see a party fighting one of these in something of a close quarters, and I can see a party of 5 adventurers going in and maybe 1 or 2 of them coming out.
Yeah, I can see that. Jim, have you ever used these in anything?
Not really. I've always really thought of them as a Dragonlance kind of monster because it seems to me that if the Draconians are running around, then dragons and the whole thing about dragons, I don't know. It's imprinted on me that it becomes more of a campaign focus than the weird orc of the week.
Yeah,
I agree. I used to think that way, believe it or not. But then I'm like, you know what? They're just too cool. Not only are they just a little bit different from the everyday, but also they have enough. They have enough in the way of abilities or defensive abilities to where the party has to actually think before they actually go up and just start wailing away on these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you get one that's that impressive, though, I mean, what do you need an actual dragon for? I mean, the Dragonlance approach to it, where they're basically dragon-like kind of flunkies or low-level characters can mess with. I see, and then you'd graduate to the dragons. Sounds like the what happened later on is that they became the main event in and of themselves, and I don't know about that.
Yeah,
well, I could certainly see an ancient dragon with draconians as his guards. That would be like one of the ultimate. I think. I mean, especially if he's got say a number of every type going all the way up to the Arak. I could see that being one of the ultimate challenges for a party to get through all of that. And of course they're going to be wounded and they're going to be low on spells. Then they got to take on the ancient one.
Yeah. So
the idea of whittling down party abilities by throwing stuff at them early is actually very, very effective. I mean, knowing this from the LARPing particularly is there are times when you're going, why are wave after wave of monster attacking? And then when it comes down to the big scenario at the end, you realize that nobody's got any healing spells left. And you're like, oh, that's why wave after wave of goblin kinds were coming this direction. Got it.
It's almost like a video game, yeah.
Yep, yeah. Gotta wade through the mooks to get to the big boss.
Here comes more Goombas, oh boy.
Yep. Have fun.
Yeah. Draconians, I kind of fall in line with what you guys said. I kind of thought of it as a Dragonlance thing that just okay, they're dragon flunkies. And then I noticed in 3 and 3.5, and I think even 4, they started making them as part of the main thing. I saw draconian type things in there, dragonkin or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
They got a union.
Yeah. Yeah, they got representation. They got pretty much. So it looks like they're going to stay. They were going to stay with it for the long haul anyway.
Right.
As far as I know, it's still in 4th edition. I don't know,
Mhm.
but yeah, they can be useful in this. I don't know. I keep looking at them. I know there's different kinds of draconians, but I keep thinking Knoll for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, aside from the Aurak dragons, I keep thinking these guys, I could use like Knolls. I mean, I know they have different, some have spells, some have this, some have that, but at the same time, well, you know, most people, you're going to use them as cannon fodder.
Mm-hmm.
Except for, like, say, the Aurak, the really powerful ones, like the Auraks.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you handle something like that?
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean, how do you break them out of the thug category?
Well, I think that they could be, they don't have to be cannon fodder. They could actually be officers. They could be in charge of squads of whatever else you want put in front of them, say orcs or goblins or whatever. And you know, they would take their orders directly from their leader. In this case, you know, for argument's sake, say a dragon. And so they're there to basically just keep order in the ranks, and the other end, of course, the orcs aren't going to go up against them, because if they do that, the dragon's going to be mad. He'll come out and, you know, bye orcs, you know.
Yeah, it's the old chain of command thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see them as shock troops easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could also create, I mean, you could have all sorts of, I mean, I always think from a role-playing angle myself, and thinking of, I mean, these are some effed up guys, and they're obviously intelligent if they're related to dragons. It would be, I mean, think of the Angst.
Yes. Oh, okay.
I don't know which I am. I'm a dragon, and I'm not.
Coming from Julie Hoverson Productions next month, it's Draconian the Masquerade. Okay.
Ew.
Wow.
I never think whiny games. I'm sorry.
Well, I was thinking of like
whininess is something else.
Well, the minute you say angst, I see these draconians in like long black coats with mascara.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Wow.
That's how all shock troops dress.
Yes. And I mean, they got some in there that are really good with like the bow.
Mm-hmm.
And things like that. There's your archers.
Yep.
And there's at least one in there that goes berserk.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not talking about the Aurochs. I mean, they're like Draconian's greatest hits.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
But you got berserkers in there for shock troops and things like that.
Wait, Aurochs, are they like the Urukai of?
Could be.
Yeah, it might be. But
yeah. But
yeah, go
so
ahead.
there is some variety in there that you just go, oh, just send a couple of those out to the players. No, that's not how you use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's that evil laugh I hear over there?
Oh, that wasn't.
No, you just anything anything that you could use as cannon fodder, you could use as not cannon fodder.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, there's one particular kind in here that can really, confound a party because they're shape changers. They could, basically they can take the form of whatever they kill, and that in itself can completely confound a party for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, is that you?
Not anymore.
Bob is dead.
I'm your party member now, Nancy.
Oh.
There is no Bob, only Zool. There, I win. But
many Zools and Shubs knew what death was like in the pain of the Zlor on that day, I can tell you. Anyway, sorry, I had to get that out.
I'm sure.
Draconians. You love them, you hate them. You, I don't know, mix drinks with them. I don't know. Give us a shout out.
Do not give them alcohol. It will end badly for you.
Or guns. Yes. Don't give the Draconians guns. Yeah.
What about
But anyway.
guns and alcohol?
Oh, no!
Let's hope you can run really, really fast.
How are we supposed to secure the territory, Sarge? Tell us how you use them at THACOshammer@gmail.com and all the other places. Well, we're at the end of another one, guys. Believe it or not, another Splat book is closed.
Woo!
Oh man! I feel cleansed. Here's your character sheet. You want to grab?
I feel dirty.
Get your dice. And well, gee, guys, it's been a pleasure again. Jim, thank you for sitting in with us. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Anytime you want to come back, you're welcome. If you can
thank you for having
stay
me
up
on.
those. Oh, you're welcome. Stay up in those wee hours in Finland.
Oh, yeah.
It's about 5:15 in the morning now.
Oh, time to go get a burger, huh? No, that's
Yeah.
here. Okay. Julie, it's been a pleasure as always.
I know.
Let's say bye. I guess she doesn't want to say bye. Okay, Julie.
I said I know.
Oh, okay, fine.
I know it's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure.
Okay.
It's fabulous.
Anyway.
And
anyway,
also
say bye,
modest.
folks.
Yes. Good evening, folks.
Good evening. Brian says good evening, and I say we'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye.
See ya.
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at THACOshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at THACOshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.